Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Farm podcast. It's a bit of a late one this week, but good things come to those who wait. I'm joined, of course, by Rage himself to go over the Baku Grand Prix. How are you doing this week, my friend?
Absolutely fabulous. How you do?
Wonderful. I'm doing very well, thank you. I think that's the first time you've asked me. In 32
Oh,
episodes.
it's not.
I think it probably is.
Probably.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Yeah, a little bit of a late one. Our work schedule's pretty hectic at the moment, so this is the earliest opportunity that we could do it. But I'm sure you guys don't mind waiting a little bit. It's worth the wait, right?
Yeah, it's all fine, mate. It's definitely worth the wait, mate.
It's where you all go, yes, this is the best podcast in the world. Of course it's worth the wait.
It's all worth the wait, mate. Of course it is.
Definitely worth the wait. We definitely know what
Definitely
happened
worth
with the
the
race
wait.
just gone by.
Definitely know all of the ins and outs of the race. Definitely know everything that happened. Definitely haven't watched any catch-up videos today.
No, definitely not. No, that's definitely
No.
not a thing that we've done.
Definitely never done that in the past either.
No.
Never.
Never in races where we normally almost fall asleep.
No.
It's difficult on a Sunday afternoon, you know.
Yeah.
So-
After all that, like roast dinner and Easter eggs in our case, and random things you probably shouldn't be eating on a weekend, it's very hard to keep those eyes open.
It is indeed. But normally, you can rely on Baku to serve up an absolute cracker of a race. And this year, it did disappoint. It really did. It was a poor race, wasn't it? In racing standards.
In racing terms, it was what they call a damp squib.
They do indeed. A damp squib indeed, sir. Good one.
It was a damp squib.
Yeah, I mean, if you filter out practice and qualifying, it was a very, very boring weekend. But practice and qualifying threw up some nice, interesting things to talk about anyway. So it's not all lost. But I think we have to start with the record-equaling Mercedes team, record-breaking Mercedes team.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to start with Ferrari because there was more interesting things to say about them. But you've just got to hand it to Mercedes, and they deserve to open this podcast. 4 1-2s from the beginning of the season, breaking the 1992 Williams record. Staggering, really, isn't it? I don't think any of us were expecting this.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. I guess when we came into this season, we thought, oh, it's going to be much closer. It's going to be a really tight-knit thing. I think that's even people still are thinking it's going to be like that. You know, it's still going to be, oh, it's going to open up. It's going to. You don't think that there hasn't been anything like this run ever, and even back in the glory days of like the 90s and before then in the 80s, when dominance, you thought, oh goodness, you know, and even the noughties with Schumacher's dominance, this is better than that. You like it is something to behold, but I think it was gifted slightly some way through this season. But yeah, no, it's an amazing achievement, and hats should be tipped for old Toto.
Yeah, I think Bahrain was a gift, and I think in some respects this weekend was a gift on one side of the Ferrari garage. But yeah, you've still got to go out there and do the job, and you've got two drivers, which is a big difference with Mercedes this year compared to last year, firing on all cylinders. I mean, Bottas, what a performance! And I got to say, I think it's the first time I've seen him in a Mercedes car really get his elbows out against Lewis Hamilton.
Fairly as well. None of this squeeze you rubbish. It was, I'm literally going to race you.
Yeah, exactly, and
the way he pulled away on that one as well. He pulled a good couple of seconds on Lewis on the first lap.
Yeah, which was his real struggle last year, was first lap pace, or the first third of the race. He really struggled. And Hamilton admitted afterwards that he was maybe a tad too kind and gave a little bit too much room to Bottas, considering he did get the much better start, and should have really taken that turn one. But you've got to give it to Bottas because he just was not giving that up. And as you say, he had great pace early on and all throughout. Even when Hamilton started coming back at him late on, he showed that classic finish nerve and just didn't crack. And a great race from start to finish for him. Great performance, and Bottas 2.0 might be around to stay.
I heard he actually did have his porridge as well.
There you go.
Generally, actually did have his porridge, and the facial hair is still there, so the memes are alive, boys.
Yeah, beard it to win it.
Something like that.
Doesn't really work. I just made that one up, but I don't think that's going to stick. Do you?
No.
But yeah, again, just a perfect racing performance from Mercedes. Even on strategy, they got it right. And they put Hamilton under a bit of pressure from Vettel with the way they did the pit stops, but still, they had the pace and the racing nous to just waltz one Ferrari in particular this weekend.
So, before we move on to the Red Boys, obviously, it was tight at the beginning for Lewis and Bottas. Bottas then quickly pulled away. Lewis almost, driving it around to the end until he, completed the laps he needed to complete. And then he could really put, the old hammer time on the last couple of laps and really use the rest of the tyres, which seems to be the current formula that we keep to be seeing. Ultimate economy, and then get the tyres done, again, ultimate economy. And then when you know that you're safe, to really push for the remaining 10 or so laps until you can hopefully try and improve, get your fastest lap time, or at least try and overtake someone. Didn't really see much in between. There wasn't really much jiggery-pokery, At the end, did you think Lewis could have done it if he didn't have a couple of little squiggly moments and the Williams wasn't there, or do you think it was only Bottas's to have?
I think he could have. I think Hamilton needs to start bringing out. He needs to start realising he's in a fight for this World Championship with Bottas, and he needs to start bringing out the Hamilton that we saw against Rosberg in 14 and 15, where he didn't wait. I know that's the current thing with the tyres, but what he did so well against Rosberg when Rosberg beat him off the line in those 2 years was he attacked straight after the pit stops. That's when he normally got that move done on, and I think that's when he needs to. That's what he needs to get back, that aggressive instinct mid-race, because that's when you're gonna. That's the thing. The last few laps, Bottas is doing the same. He's looking after his tyres. He's not been in the toe like Hamilton has.
You're almost matching, pace for pace, aren't you?
Exactly. So Hamilton's got to do something different, and he's got to really start attacking. But I think we're still in that early stage where Mercedes are a little bit shocked where they are, and the lack of challenge from Ferrari, and they just want these points in the bag, because there is more than any other season that underlying opinion that Ferrari have still got that car somewhere. I think they do have the better car in that car, but when are we going to start seeing it? Well, when are we going to start seeing it with Leclerc? Because let's segue into Ferrari.
Let's shuffle over into the lovely household of Fezzer.
Was that your attempt at Conversation Street?
Let's shuffle over to the settee of sarcasm.
Scuderias.
Yes! Let's shuffle over to the settee of Scuderia. There we go. That's
lovely. Good. Only took a couple of attempts. As smooth as
anything. Yeah, why
not? Because Leclerc was every bit a match for those Mercedes in terms of pace this weekend, and he was once again Ferrari's best hope, and he was blistering all weekend.
Only hope.
Oh, he is at the moment, isn't he? We'll get to Vettel in a minute, but Leclerc was pushing the boundaries all weekend, and I think it was from some of his wall taps in practice. I think it was only a matter of time before what happened in qualifying happened, but unfortunately for him, and the difference between him and a young Sebastian Vettel, I would say, at the moment, is he's not making those mistakes in practice, he's making them in qualifying. A big error into the castle section. I don't think any of us could quite believe it, but he's young, isn't he?
Yeah, it's going to happen, isn't it? He's pushing, like you say, pushing the envelope. He doesn't know really what you can do in that car at the moment, so it's all new ground for him, I guess, in a way. He's never really had the car under him to actually really put those kind of laps in.
And the pressure.
So I think it's going to happen, isn't it?
Oh,
that
of course
kind
it
of
is.
Ultimate thing. the incidents.
Yeah, he's a young driver. He's on his second season of Formula One. Let's not forget that. Huge pressure on his shoulders. But a lot of the talk was once again with Ferrari's strategy. And did they need to, again, overconfidence to go out on the hardest tyre, not even the mediums, with both cars? And what were your opinions on what a lot of people thought that yes, it was Leclerc's mistake, but Ferrari shouldn't have put him in the position of being on those tyres?
I feel they the problem with what happened this time round, I think they didn't think the pace was there for him, and they seem to do this as they go. The strategy seems to come
very quickly. It was the opposite.
How do you mean?
They were so overconfident with the pace that they went on the hardest compound in Q2 so that they could start the race on them.
Oh, I don't know that. I didn't see practice or the qualifying, did I?
Oh, I didn't know you didn't see qualifying. Yeah, that's
I didn't see any of the pre-build-up. Sorry,
that's the thing. Vettel very nearly crashed on that same corner because they were on the hardest compounds. They couldn't get heat in them. So this was the thing. It's once again Ferrari being very cocky. They had the quickest car with Leclerc, and they thought, "Yeah, we'll breeze this. So let's do something different." When really, with the way their season's going, they need to start putting these results away. And it just seemed like a very strange decision at that moment. It was Leclerc's mistake. Vettel had the same issue into that corner, but he didn't go into the barriers. So, you can't put it all on Ferrari. But it is strategy again.
It's always strategy, though, with Ferrari. This is their falling... like their failing point at the moment. It seems to always boil down to strategy. Even, Vettel's first couple of years at Ferrari, or even Alonso's years at Ferrari, it's ever since that team has been broken down more and more, the strategy has just fallen by the wayside. I feel bad for Charles because he seems to be shafted by the contract and also shafted by the strategy. So it's like a double shaft. He doesn't know where it's coming from next.
He's being shafted in all directions.
He's literally he's got the double shaft, the double Scuderia shaft.
That's not what you want, and that's not pressure on suspension. It's tragic, really. They need to start turning things around quickly. This was the first weekend that we saw updates on their car, and from the pace with Leclerc anyway, it seems to be working, but Mercedes aren't going to keep the same car as well. They know they've potentially got the slower car on quite a lot of circuits this year, and they're going to be making every effort to turn that around. So again, missed opportunities for a Ferrari, and it's normally early season they're so good, and that's the worrying thing. Normally mid-season they start breaking down. If they're doing it at this point, God knows what they're going to be like by the time we get to middle of the European season. So let's move on to the race with Ferrari. I mean, look, Vettel, again, was very watchful of the two Mercedes, but never really made any inroads. He was really struggling early on and then started to really find his groove with his final set of tyres. But still could only get within a couple of seconds of Hamilton, and it seemed like Mercedes still had it under control. But Leclerc came through beautifully. Great move on Verstappen. And then I don't really know what they were doing with strategy with him. They left him out so long. Again. And then when he came out, the whole point of that strategy was put him on the quickest tyres at the end and let him go for it. And immediately he was half a second slower every lap as they basically told him to back off. I don't get it. I don't understand what this team are doing. You've got what is essentially the quickest driver all weekend on the quickest tyres that are 25 laps newer than the three cars ahead of him. No threat from behind, really. And you don't tell him to go for it. I mean, what's going on there?
I think they have a variety of different problems. I think one obviously is the main contractual agreement they've got with Vettel. Vettel is the number one driver. They have to give him priority whatever happens. And, this is the kind of scenario that probably not all of them either expected or wanted, because they thought, well, Vettel's probably going to, breeze past these first couple of races, and Leclerc will just act as this will be a learner for Leclerc until we go into the next season. But it's not been the case. It's been almost like the other way around, isn't it? Vettel has really been struggling, and Leclerc has really been shining. And can you imagine the backlash they would get if they just as well as, I don't know what would happen in the contract if they just said, you know what, we're changing. Surely there has to be someone in that team to sit there and go, right, something's not working with what we're doing at the moment. We have to change. How can we not benefit the race, the person who's going to win the race for us, but because of a contractual agreement? It just doesn't. I'm in the same boat as you, man. I just think it's absolutely nuts that they don't prioritize the fastest driver on the day. I'm also lost. The whole strategy call throughout the whole race for Leclerc. Oh, let's keep him out. Well, everyone has to just come in. Yeah, but let's just keep him out. You just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, but everyone's come in, and now he's
for the first time in
still
a
out.
long time, they made the right strategy call on that, because the position he was in.
If he got some fast laps in and then put in those softer tyres towards the end, or if there was a safety car, it could have worked out really well for him. I said at one point, he's going to win the race if this carries on. But I don't know.
Well, that's the other thing. We didn't see a safety car for the first time in Baku, and that really hurt what he was trying to do. He was trying to do a Bottas from last year. But even so, you've dropped behind the Red Bull as well. It's not even like... This goes a little bit beyond team orders type thing, because it's Verstappen up the road, not Vettel. And he still didn't go for it. I don't get what they're doing. Their strategy makes absolutely no sense, and there's no desire to even see what happens. Even towards the end, when they were looking to put him on those tyres, they were like, let's wait a couple more laps because we're not sure they're going to go to the end. If you wait a couple more laps, the chance is gone. And even when he does come in, he doesn't go for it. So what was the point? It's baffling to me. And you're right, they've got to change priorities to Leclerc, but they've got to just learn how to be a racing team. Red Bull are the ultimate in that. Whenever they're out of position or they have a chance to do something different, they'll go for it 100%. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. They're 5th and 6th.
Do you think that there is a fundamental structural problem at the top end of Ferrari that isn't being experienced by other teams? If you think about at least the past 5 to 10 years in Ferrari, who have we seen? We've seen, obviously, Stefano. We've seen Arriva Bene. We saw, who was the one before that?
That random guy we had for about 3 months.
Random guy we had for 3 months. The gentleman who passed away, I can't remember his name. He was in charge for a little bit. Montezemolo, was he even in charge for a little bit?
No, he's their president.
Was he not?
He's their president.
But still, all of those different. What other team has done that in the past? Apart from McLaren, and look where they are. The fundamental workings of your team is managing and dealing with the day-to-day things they need to do to run the team. If they haven't got people there who know what they're doing, or have done it for a long period of time, or are comfortable in doing it in a long period of time, they're not going to perform. No one comes out of the gate performing at the top level in any job you do, or in anything you do. And then for Ferrari to sit there and think they can do it in Formula One, I think it's just ludicrous. I don't know. I think at least it's too much of a job for one man to take on. I don't even know his name. What's his name? Antonio, Mario, Luigi. Bonotto, there you go, him. He's got great hair, but I don't really know anything about him. I just think they just need to really change what they're doing. There needs to be something fundamentally different going on at that team. They've got the budget, they've got the drivers, they look like they've got the mechanics, they've got all of the technical know-how to build a fast car. But I think, honestly, it comes down to who is literally taking the reins of that team, and when decisions being made, and if they're being made properly. With Red Bull, it's been almost the same guys that we see at the top doing the damage, hasn't it? Really, and look how well they're doing. Mercedes exactly the same. They've had, well, apart from a couple have left, but still, it seems to be a structural thing of the team that's stopping them from really doing what they need to do. And favouring one driver over the other just because of a contractual agreement and not who's fastest is fucking ridiculous. How can you do that as a top team? It's nuts.
Yeah, there are problems. I was trying to find some information on their staff at the moment, because it's not even the team principal. What I'm trying to find out is who their chief strategist is, and if that's changed, because that's the guy. The guy that's making, it's not Binotto making these calls. It's the strategy team.
We need to know who it is where the buck stops.
I want his name, number, and national insurance number, so we can get rid of him.
I want to know who he is. I want to know where he eats. I want to know whose his wife is, how many kids he's got. I want to know fatty and everything.
I want to sit him down.
Something don't change.
I want answers. I want answers, damn it.
I want answers.
What are you doing to poor Charles Leclerc?
He's a golden boy. Don't you ruin his career now.
Yeah. I could go on this for hours. I don't want to. But there's things that need to change with their car, because arguably some of this will go away if they get the dominance that they should potentially have from that car. But they need to take a long, hard look about how they're going racing. I go back to that Red Bull point again. For the last 4 or 5 years, they have got wins and they've got results out of nothing because they're racers and because they go for something different and they go for it wholeheartedly if they have to. They got nothing to lose. And Ferrari seem to be happy to come home in 3rd and 4th, waiting for their car to turn around, rather than to try and do something different to break this this Mercedes dominance. And it's hurting both drivers. I mean, Vettel is there or thereabouts, but I think he's very much settled on he doesn't have the pace because of the car, or he's not comfortable in it, or whatever. It's the period he's going through in his career. Leclerc has the pace, but he's being done by Ferrari strategy, and it's infuriating. And it means that this thing that you go back to of preferring one driver over the other is just going to become more prominent, because they've then got the argument that Vettel's got more points. The only reason for that is because of the mistakes made with Charles Leclerc. He should be right up there with the Mercedes right now, with a win in Bahrain, but for the technical issue, and obviously his mistake this weekend. But it's a very different story if we're talking about 2 Leclerc wins so far to 2 Mercedes wins with 2 different drivers. So let's wait and see. But things need to change with their strategy, but we've been saying that for years. So I think the biggest chance we've got with Ferrari is to see a change in mentality in terms of strategy. That's the most likely thing to happen. Right, before we move on, a few comments from the chat. Fox was just saying that Ferrari should run one driver, just a one-driver team. Vettel doesn't like having to face young guns. I'm sure he doesn't, but I think there's something fundamentally holding him back at the moment. I don't think it's all about Leclerc. I think the last couple of years have hurt his confidence a little bit, and he's maybe biding his time. We'll wait and see. Right, I guess we should move on to Red Bull next. It was once again a team just dragged forward by Max Verstappen, who once again had a pretty staggering race considering the car he's got. Honda upgrades for this weekend seem to make good power gains and reliability. Well, not quite reliability for both Toro Rosso and Red Bull. Got them a little bit closer in qualifying. And Verstappen was there or thereabouts with them, wasn't he? In terms of pace. It was a pretty good showing from him. Again, they just need to, on their own admission, it's not for the first time in the new era, it's not power unit that's holding them back, it's their chassis, which is a bit more encouraging for me, because it suggests that it's much easier for them to turn around a chassis deficit than a power unit deficit, isn't it?
Sorry, say that again. You broke up.
It's much easier for Red Bull to turn around a chassis problem than it is a power unit problem.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So there's a lot of hope for them, and the big thing for them is Verstappen again, right up there with them. overall lap times and race pace very, very close, and he's splitting the Ferraris at the moment. So he's still in this fight if Red Bull iron out their issues pretty quickly.
I think he's doing a stellar job, to be fair. I don't like the guy. I think he's doing a good job.
No, you made that abundantly clear.
I think he's doing, he's doing what needs to be done. His team are being severely hampered by Gasly. Whether that gets sorted out in the near future, I don't know. I guess that's down to Mr. Marco, or Doctor, as we should know him. Dr. Helmut has the final word.
Almost like he was in the room.
I know. What do you think about the situation? Because it's detrimental to the team, isn't it? Really.
What, the Gasly question?
The Gasly conundrum.
Well,
have we rumbled over to the residential area of Red Bull?
We have.
Oh, we have. We transitioned.
I mean, we started talking about him half an hour ago.
It's fine. We carry on. Nobody knows.
I liked that. That was a good one. Gasly was improved this weekend.
The Gasly conundrum.
Again, pit lane to where he was in the race. He was not too far off the top 5 at that point. Obviously let down by the Honda engine, which has been revamped this weekend for reliability, which was ironic. Yes, it has.
It?
That works out well.
I saw some real improvements.
Not. No, I think...
So I didn't really need to put "not" in front of that. I thought the sarcasm was enough.
It was. I was just... Anyway. They got some new extra modes, engine modes this weekend, and they definitely seem better in a straight line, so it did help them. But obviously the reliability on Gasly's car, unfortunately, is the way with the meme of Honda. Whenever they say something, the opposite happens. They should just say nothing, and then not even tell people they got a new engine for that weekend. And just see how it goes.
I didn't even know. I had no idea. No clue. Sorry, we have new engine. Did anybody know? No, nobody know. No, we won't tell anyone. It's fine.
Is that supposed to be Japanese?
No, it's just how it goes, mate.
Just in a generic accent.
Yeah.
Going to the Gasly question. He's improving. He's getting back on the pace.
Is he?
No. Is this going to be another season-long battle like Van Dorn or Ericsson? As soon as I try and make any points, you just shut me down with the same meme each week.
Is it though? How many points he got?
Not many.
Is it more than 8?
It
Let's have a look.
is 13, I'm afraid.
13.
It's not great, is it?
Let's see who's above and beyond. Where is he with 13? 13. There we go. Got the same as Kimi Räikkönen in an Alfa Romeo Sauber.
Agreed. He's
got the same as Sergio Perez in a Racing Point.
Well, agreed. He's been very poor so far, but he's getting in the right direction, and I think
he has 1 more point than Lando Norris in a McLaren.
Correct.
Pierre Gasly, people.
These are all facts that back up your point. I'm with you. And I'm not
8, Jamie.
I'm not saying he's done an incredible job so far, because
he's
5
a long way than he has right now. 8, Jamie.
What I'm saying, and if you hear me
8.
out,
okay,
he's showing improvement.
Is he?
He's getting back onto the pace of where that Red Bull should be.
He's very trying. Yes.
And I don't know if it's such a bad thing if he gets in a position where he's not too far off Verstappen and can score those occasional podiums and 4ths and 5ths. I don't think that's necessarily a bad position for Red Bull at the moment. To have all their eggs in Verstappen's basket and have a good driver that can bring home points that isn't going to cause issues against Verstappen.
But he's not bringing home points.
No, he's not yet. But he would have.
I can't remember
if his
the last
engine hadn't
time
gone.
Red Bull have been in this predicament. When was the last time? The last time, maybe, with Kvyat. But I still think Kvyat had more points than what Gasly has now.
Yeah, he was getting podiums.
Around that kind of time.
His first full season was okay, but it was a similar thing of him having to build up against Vettel. And, some drivers go straight in and hit the ground running like Leclerc does. Some it's a little bit more difficult.
I think there needs to be we're seeing a less crazy helmet Marco than we normally see. I'm really surprised we've got this far. Maybe they really like him, and they really know what he's capable of.
I think any driver at that age that's shown the promise he has, even Helmut Marko wouldn't get rid of him this quickly. Kvyat, you've got to remember, had a full season, and then 4 or 5 into the next before they got rid of him. Even that, what we thought was a snap decision, he'd still had a long time in the car.
I would have already swapped him over. I would have already put Albon into that seat.
Any benefit to that at the moment? None at all. I think you would still have whoever you could get at this moment, which would be pretty limited.
Albon. Swap him. Albon for
you
Gasly.
Really think he could jump straight in that Red Bull and do a better job than Gasly's potentially going to do in the next couple of races?
Yep.
Okay, I don't think that's the case. I think you've got to give him more time.
We'll give him, all right, fine. We'll give him 8 more races. How many, Jamie? 8.
Okay. Let's see where we are in eight races time.
See where we are in 8 races time. Fox, when is that? Work it out. I'm not counting. Come on, Fox.
It's in 8 races.
8? Yeah, but where will we be?
Somewhere. We will get the answer to that. See, Fox agrees with me. Albon isn't ready either. I think Gasly's potentially ready, but he just needs a few more races. We'll see. All I'm saying is if he goes another 4 or 5 races into the European season with tracks he knows really well, and is still struggling, then I wholeheartedly agree with you. Okay. But he has to be allowed that breathing period, that time of adjustment.
I'm literally triggered right now.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Why was he at fucking Toro Rosso then? He had all of that time. He had the time. But arguably, he had more time than others.
You literally, not half an hour ago, said the point of Leclerc, he has to be allowed time and to get up to speed. It's got to be different jumping into a car that you suddenly got to perform in.
No, it is different. I said that Charles is doing an amazing job. He's jumped into the car. He's already performing, even though he should be given the time. He should be given the time to perform. Gasly's had the time to perform as well, and he's not performing in the fast car. That's
what I think you're missing. I agree with you. He's not performing, but I'm not saying that's the end of his career straight away.
No, I don't think it should be the end of his career. He should just take a back seat and do a couple more rounds with Toro Rosso.
When has that ever worked?
Well, we might have the example sitting in 16th place in the Drivers' Championship right now. It's not called the Torpedo for nothing.
No, he's outstanding, isn't he, now? He's completely turned his career around.
But still, to say he hasn't had the chance to... Why was he at Toro Rosso? That was his gateway. He needs to perform. He's got given the seat. He's got the keys to the big time, and he's not using the keys to the big time. Fair enough. This weekend, it wasn't his fault. I get that. It wasn't his fault. But Max seemed to have the good engine. Funny that. Little Max has got the good engine. That would have stopped Mr. Max.
No, but again, as I say, I don't think it's such a bad thing at the moment, having a one-horse race with them.
But still, it needs to be a one-horse race where at least Pierre ends up after Max down the road.
Right, but that's where he was before he dropped out. That's what I'm saying. This weekend was improved, and he was a handful of 15, 20 seconds off Max, despite starting in the pit lane. So he actually had a good race. That's what I'm saying. 8 races from now is what I meant, Fox. So yeah, Spa. We give him to a Spa. I'd give him to that summer cut-off, because that's the time a good time to change a driver.
Yeah, summer cut-off. Summer cut-off.
Gasly's in a new team against one of the biggest stars in F1. Of course, he's going to look bad. Yeah, and a car that's even Adrian Newey admits is nowhere near good enough on the chassis, which is saying something for one of his cars. So, let's see.
Okay, let's move on.
Moving on. Pink Panthers. We don't normally get to them next, but I think we're going to.
Pink Panther? Are we going to party on down to the paradise of pink people in the vicinity of Racing Point? Yes.
Perfect. Yes, we are. Love that. Sergio Perez, I mean, there's a very good reason I swapped him into my fantasy team and turboed him for Baku. He's a little bit of a specialist round here. And as proved again. Great job in qualifying, and then was, despite, I think, having a slower car than the McLarens, still easily managed to come home ahead of them. He did a great job. And he had some very, very strong pressure from Norris as well. All the way throughout those races, the race until sort of the last 10 laps. The McLarens were a couple of seconds behind him. But he just has a knack round here, doesn't he?
Apparently so.
Okay, good. I'm so glad you're on this podcast.
I feel I've earned my place. I can just...
What, by participation?
Yeah! Just by, I've been here enough times. I've tried my best. I turn up every week.
No, Fox, that's not at all what I'm saying. He said, anyways, let's go ahead and mark down Jay for Gasly winning Spa.
Oh!
Sure, why not?
Let's lock that in, I think. Lock it in.
I can't do any worse in the fantasy than I'm already doing, so... a good point. A good race for Racing Point. God, nearly.
But they started off well, ish.
They started off pretty badly, to be fair.
They what? Where were they like third? They were third, fourth.
You're getting really robotic and far away from your mic.
Hello.
Okay, a bit better.
Hello.
I don't think they've been third or fourth this season at all.
They were. Who? Where were they after? Yeah, they were. They were doing well after the start.
Well, before this race, Perez is on 13 points, and he got 8 from this one, so he was on 5 points before this. And Stroll, he's doubled his points tally in this race alone. So, no, they weren't doing great. They've had a pretty average start to the season, and they've been quite a long way behind the likes of McLaren, Haas, and Renault so far. Go on.
He was in fourth on the first lap.
Who, Perez?
Sergio. Yeah.
This race?
What race did you watch?
Yeah, I'm talking about. What are you? I do not understand what you're saying.
I just said they had a good weekend. You were like, no, they had a bad weekend. So what are you on about? They were in fourth.
Oh, I said they had a pretty poor season up until now, and then you went, no, they didn't. So maybe you misheard me. Maybe you misheard me, yes.
I did.
Okay, that's one of our classic mishap of misdirections there. As we meander, there's no M's, shit. Oh, as we meander neatly into McLaren.
Oh.
How did I do there? No, let's not. Let's quickly go back to Stroll. Decent performance from him?
No.
Cool. McLaren, much improved from their grid positions. Well, actually, not much. Norris was 7th and finished 8th.
But still, Norris was... It was a good performance from Norris.
Very good. He was...
the boy can't do wrong in my book.
Oh, he's a superstar. He's my new favourite. Absolutely.
He is one of those that comes but once a year.
Once a year, that regularly.
He comes around but once a year.
I think all the F1 drivers do that, don't they?
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, he was ahead of Carlos the whole race, had the pace on him, but for a ridiculous... I can kind of see what McLaren were doing late on, but I don't think he expected Perez and Sainz to light up the tyres as quickly after the virtual safety car. You pit under the virtual safety car, you lose about 10 seconds. What you got to lose, I guess, from McLaren's point of view. From Norris' point of view, you lose the chance to beat your teammate. But from McLaren's point of view, you're still going to finish 7th and 8th, so you might as well give it a go. I think it was a bit cruel not to let them swap back over, considering. But still a very strong performance from them. And I think McLaren, you have to look at them now as a midfield team we've gone well beyond the point of going this great McLaren team of past that's struggling. You've got to look at them at where they are now solidly a midfield team, and they're doing a great job if you look at them that way. They've got a good car underneath them. They're making progress. But then again, going back on what I've said, they are McLaren.
Yeah, I know, but if you look at it like the same way as they're not a works. Well, they have a works engine. No, they don't. No. Well, they no,
they have a Renault.
They're a customer. They are very much a customer. They develop everything else in house, but they're kind of like a little bit more of a better developed Haas-ish. If you think about it, they're not really. They are.
Well, Haas buy everything from Ferrari, so I don't see how that works.
Well, I said they develop everything in house. The same kind of thing. They buy everything from like Renault. Buy some stuff for Renault.
An engine
from Renault. That I agree with your statement that they are pretty much midfield and they're doing all right. The best of the rest, aren't they? They're best of the rest.
Yeah, exactly, and they're making progress in the right direction. And considering how far off the pace they were last year, it's definitely all moving in the right direction. Now
it's all fine, mate.
Now they've got rid of that established name of Alonso. They can be afforded time to do that, I think, and make their progress back through the field. So they've been doing a great job. They've got two great drivers.
Oh yeah, it's all fine, mate. Got all the drivers in the world, mate.
Yeah. So they're making a good step in the right direction. So yeah, long live Nando and Sainz. I think I'd like to see them get nicely in front of the midfield by the end of the season, and then we could maybe start to entertain the idea that McLaren might get back onto the top three at some point, but we'll see.
Does this mean we're now going to rummage on down to the road of Alfa Romeo?
Yes, it is. I was looking for A's on that, but the R's were a better route. You were quite correct in doing that.
Yes.
Once again, it was the Kimi Räikkönen show, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
Put that car where it didn't at all deserve to be. A great racing performance from him again. And I'm going to say it. An improved performance from Giovinazzi.
Jesus Christ, I didn't even look. Does anyone?
Well, P12, he was in the mix for points at one point.
But do you care?
No, not really.
No,
but Kimi Räikkönen, great to see him just carry on being him. And I just love that he's enjoying the race now.
Yes, it's hobby. It's literally just Team Räikkönen, isn't it?
Fox, what about Alonso at Indy practice? We might get to a bit of it, Alonso in the news, but he's not going to go in the main McLaren section in Formula 1. Get over yourself.
Sorry, this is the Formula Fun podcast. This isn't
exactly
the after Indy something podcast.
You want to start a rival IndyCar podcast? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just know that if you ever ask me to guest on it, you're not going to like what I say.
Ericsson.
Because I'm just going to talk, and I'll just talk about Formula 1 the whole time. See how you like it. I don't mean any of that harsh. You know that, Fox. I don't know why I had to clarify that. Yeah, I mean, Alfa Romeo are doing the best job with the car they've got. Raikkonen's going to continue getting them some good points. I feel they need a real exciting young gun driver in instead of Giovinazzi, but that's unlikely to happen this season, I think. So they're just doing their job, aren't they?
just cracking on, mate. I don't even look, to be honest.
Right, let's...
How they're doing. Do you?
What, Alfa Romeo?
Yeah.
They're doing very well, considering. I think their car's slowly going down the grid in terms of overall pace. But the fact that Raikkonen is P8 on level points with Perez and Gasly shows everything you need to know about where the strength of that team is coming from.
Yeah. I reckon they just intravenously feed him like vodka.
I mean, going by the meme we showed last week.
Oh, yeah.
That's 100% what he's doing.
Just drip feed him vodka, mate.
Yeah. What else can you do? Let's tiptoe through turn 1 to Toro Rosso.
I feel we may have missed Renault or Haas or Williams.
Well, Toro Rosso were the next most impressive team out of those, and that's
Fine.
That's how
it works. There's tiptoe on down to the town of Toro Rosso. Was that where it went?
Tiptoe through turn 1
Okay.
to the town of Toro Rosso. That works even better. Lovely.
Right. Why not?
Alexander Albon again. Fantastic performance. The torpedo out this time, despite having the better performance really over the weekend.
It was like Inception this week, wasn't it? The torpedo was torpedoed.
Yes, it was. Yeah, should we talk about that? Probably
Might
the
as
most
well. 'Cause nothing else
interesting point
happened,
of the
did it?
race.
Nothing else happened. Let's be simple, be honest. Not much else went down.
Yeah, so Danny Rick in his new Renault, fast finding out it's not quite as good on the brakes as the Red Bull.
Yes.
And even his late braking style has a limit in that car. As he sailed past Danny Kvyat into turn 4 and forced him onto the escape road as well. And then after about 30 seconds, the torpedo, he's used to only going one direction, so couldn't find reverse. And Ricciardo, being Ricciardo and only ever looking forward, didn't look back and reversed straight into the side of him. It's a bit clumsy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess. But apparently he whizzed past, he checked his mirrors, but the wrong one.
Oh, I heard him say, I just expected him to be out of the way by this point.
If you watch the video, he checks his right side mirror, which would have been empty because there wasn't a car there, and then reversed. So he checked, right side mirror wasn't there, reversed, and didn't realise it's probably on his left side mirror because he kind of like moved in a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, silly mistake. I think it was probably could have been avoided, but on
what, him reversing into a stationary car? Yeah, I think it might.
Yeah,
have been.
but why didn't he? He could have moved slightly. He just stayed there, didn't he? I don't know what Kvyat was doing. To be fair, but it was nice to see that Daddy Rick went and apologised.
When do we ever?
When do we ever what?
Know what Danny Kvyat's doing.
Oh, I was going to say. It was nice that Danny Rick went and said sorry.
Yeah.
After the race. I think Torpedo was a bit salty about it after the race. Some of the interviews I heard.
He would be.
He was like, I don't know what he was doing. I think for the next race I'm going to buy him a rearview mirror. I was like, oh, okay.
It was a very bizarre thing for Ricciardo to do. I can see 100% how it could happen. But, it was Ricciardo's fault. At that point in the race, Kvyat was comfortably ahead of Albon, had been outperforming him all weekend, and all of a sudden that sort of mini win against his teammate is knocked out by Ricciardo first, making a lunge and forcing you off the track, and then reversing into you. You can see his point. That's. I'm not going to criticise Ricciardo too much for the initial move because that's what we all love about him and how he's created this name for himself in Formula 1. But it was clumsy, obviously, with the reverse and the move. The damage forced them both to retire in the end. So gave us a little bit of action, though.
Bit of action that we didn't have for the whole of the rest of the race. But yeah, it was great, mate. Slight tap. Race over.
That's modern Formula 1. And no safety car in sight as well. It was just destined this weekend, annoying. Wasn't it?
I was just like, well, when's this race going to start? When's it going to go? When are we going to have liftoff?
Yeah, I thought we were going to get it after the virtual safety car because Verstappen, Vettel, Hamilton, Bottas were all 7 or 8 seconds apart. And it looked like we might see something, and then it just petered out. So, bit of a shame. Right, do you want to try the next?
I don't know who was next along the road.
You can choose.
Oh, okay. Well, let's ramble on to the residential residings of Renault.
Perfect.
Thank you.
An incredibly disappointing weekend for them. They're going backwards at a great rate of knots at the moment, aren't they?
Many knots.
Many knots. Maybe a boat would be better for them at the moment. They are classically the banana boat, so...
Well, like you say, the brakes just definitely aren't there, are they? As we found out, hilariously.
Definitely not. If there's one man to test your brakes, it's Danny Rick, and they did not pass the test.
No. What happened to Hulk? He was so far down, I can't remember what happened to him.
Nothing, really. Didn't have pace.
That was the pace. That was all they could muster.
He was 16th in qualifying on pace, and he was 14th in the race on pace. It's just
bad, isn't it?
Yeah, big step backwards for Renault. We'll see once we get to Barcelona if that's going to stick. I have a feeling it might have just been an off weekend for them, but we'll have to wait and see.
Possible.
Pretty poor for them. Let's head humongously hovering over who has.
You could have said,
go on.
Let's hover over to the home of humble beginnings at Haas HQ.
Lovely, much better. This is why you should do them and not me.
Shit at this.
My Taurus one was good.
It was pretty easy, to be fair.
Well.
Okay. Well, I feel I may have won that one. So let's go to Haas.
Oh, I thought that's all we were going to do on them.
What's that? Is that it?
I thought that was all we needed to do, wasn't it?
Oh, but Fox would go mad. That's it. That's all we're going to do. Just the entrance. I'll do it. I'll do it really quickly. You ready?
Yep.
Magnussen was shit. Roman Grosjean made a mistake. Also quite shit. Didn't crash.
Pretty much.
Do we need to add any more?
No, I'm waiting for you to transition.
The good thing about what happened with Haas is we had Gunter Steiner during the before and after the race with Channel 4. This man deserves many medals.
He does. He deserves a bigger platform to speak on because he
I
deserves
could
his
listen
own
to
series.
that little voice. Literally, if only someone would give him his own series.
Doesn't have to be anything, no guests, no studio, just him in front of a camera.
So I saw, and I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but apparently someone who makes the Netflix videos, or who was divisive in making the Netflix videos, said hello to Gunter Steiner whilst at Baku. So whether they're still doing it for next year, there's maybe a bit of a hint that we might still get the Netflix Drive to Survive for 2019 as well.
They are, yeah.
Good. Well, 100% confirmed.
That's already confirmed, yeah. They've been there all season so far.
Do we know if Ferrari and Masadaras are going to play ball as well?
I don't know, but I can give you a pretty educated guess.
No?
Probably not.
Probably not, okay.
I just can't see them doing that.
No, I can't see them either.
Definitely not Ferrari.
Right, so that's Haas, and then shall we wander over to the woeful world of Williams?
Yes, I love your resigned sigh at the end of that. Yeah.
So there was a crash, and there was also complete obliteration of Russell's anus.
There was. It's probably the two most exciting points of the weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, practice
and also
one.
the savage dripping of the anal juice onto the top of the car.
Yes. So, drain grid, whatever you call it, drain cover. That's the one.
That's the one.
Was ripped up by Charles Leclerc, and then the next man over it, George Russell, just destroyed his rear end on it.
Absolutely ruined his anus.
It did. It went all chicken vindaloo on it.
Yeah.
It was, a massive accident. Called off the session. Ruined a chassis for Williams, costing them money they really don't have. Claire Williams was seething. And
oh, God.
The
Hardy said someone's manhole got destroyed.
Yes, more than one. I think Russell would have definitely been a bit of... he wouldn't have been happy to have a white racing suit at that point.
No.
And then we got the comical moment of... this, I would imagine, will be the season of the Baku tow truck with the Williams on the back going under a bridge and hitting it just square on the hydraulic arm, and oil spraying out all over the Williams. I mean, as if they didn't need any more metaphors or insults to injury this season. A tow truck pissing on a Williams is really quite fitting for them, isn't it?
I guess. What more can we expect? I think they should have this problem every time they come out racing. Just some calamitous event that just destroys all hope of them actually improving week by week.
Oh, if it keeps
I think it
happening,
should be written into
plenty
the
of sponsors.
Oh yeah. How will Williams' race get ruined today? You decide.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Russell doing a superior job to Kubica again. Any words on Kubica's crash? It's just one of
Pretty
those,
lazy.
wasn't it?
It was bad.
Well, he was in good
It
company
literally-
at that corner, I guess.
Yeah, I know, but it was lazy the way he crashed. He hopped over the front.
Well, he hit the first corner, didn't he? The wall on the left-hander, which put
Yes.
him in, unlike Leclerc, who obviously locked up and went straight on. Was trying to turn in. Apparently, there was a clip of Kubica again saying, you know, like Australia, he wasn't expecting the amount of grip he got.
I wasn't expecting the grip.
So, just, yeah, unusual amounts of grip on that Williams. And all of a sudden, oh, it actually turned. Shit. There's a wall there. Yeah, it's pretty clumsy from him, as you say, pretty lazy. And another pretty poor weekend for them. Yeah, not great. They're really in trouble, aren't they? In terms of their future.
I give them one more year.
Yeah, they've either got to bite the bullet and do what they say they're never going to do, which is allow the team to be bought, or go out of existence, I think, at this point.
I think it will be a Brabham style situation. Just bow out. There's no fucking shame in bowing out. Like, look what you've achieved. Yes, times have changed and the capabilities of other teams have changed, and they have been left behind through their naivety and their unwillingness to change. Bow out while you can, while you've still got the tiny bit of credible friggin' achievement still underneath your belt, because it is farcical, it's a joke, and it's actually embarrassing. And I'm surprised that Frank has actually continued this, because it's a waste of money, one, and it's like, I said this already before, it's like when you have an old boxer who used to be great, like he had many belts, he's done very well. It's like Muhammad Ali, like towards the end, he was a bit crazy. He was still pretty good, but it was not getting any better. Like, just let it go, man. Yeah. You had it once, you lost it. If you're not going to change and adapt, you're not willing to change and adapt in a race series that strives on adaptation and change, then there's no possible way you're ever going to get positive results. And to think otherwise is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's pride at this point. I think the thing is, Ferrari, Formula One would be worse off, not just without Williams, but with two less cars on the grid. We're already pretty strapped for numbers as it is. And it's not as if there aren't buyers out there. It's their reluctance to even entertain the idea that's holding that back. So they just make that decision. You've had partnerships in some of your most successful times since the glory days have been when you've got these big partners.
Yeah,
So
look what
why are
happened
you
when
so
they were with
reluctant?
BMW.
Exactly.
Like, just look at those days. They were the only ones who were taking it to Michael in the proper glory days of Ferrari.
Well, Jensen bought the BAR as well.
No, Jensen wasn't in the same league as the fucking 2004 Williams. Anyway, we could go at this
2003 he was. No, 2004 he was. What are you on about? Jensen was third in 2004. The only guy that came remotely close.
Anyway,
yeah.
Moving on.
That is the end of our Baku race.
Literally, Hardy, as soon as Jamie gets on the fucking conversation of Button, I have to shut him down with, anyway, Let's move on. 'Cause we can be here
We'll be
so
here
long.
for years.
We'll be here for 84 years.
80 years later. Well, the thing about Button
Many
was...
years later. Okay, so
I've
are we
devised
gonna...
this pie chart to show you.
No! Are we going to move on?
Yeah,
to...
closing thoughts from Baku.
Yes.
We had some excitement still in qualifying and practice, but the race was a little bit, as you say, of a damp squib. But...
Look, I can overlook the damp squibness of 2019 Baku because of the absolute awesomeness of 2018, 2017, and 2016.
Well,
was it 2016?
16 was the first race. It was awful because it was a procession. But interestingly...
There was some good stuff though, wasn't there?
Interestingly, yeah, the highest number of overtakes the last 3 years have been Baku.
Yeah.
And the most of them were in 2016. I'm going to have to rewatch that race at some point because I don't remember any. But apparently there were 62.
Jesus Christ.
So I don't quite know what I missed in that race, but...
No idea. But Baku was normally always, it's been a staple of crazy calamity. There's always been something mad going on at Baku, but
it's
unfortunate. Oh, fuck yes. I would happily go back to Baku. I think it's great. It's a great addition. It's absolutely mad. Like, it's a crazy fucking track. Concrete walls and crazy speeds. It is definitely necessary to Formula One now. But, yeah. Well, I'll overlook one bad race. It's all good.
Absolutely. Now, I know you said before this, I wonder if we maybe should move this to the beginning. You wanted to do your Rages Roundup. Did you still want to do that? Or...
No.
No, okay.
No. I will just say that some went round, some quicker than others, some not at all, and that one fire.
Yep, Danny Kvyat practice 2.
Did he have a fire?
He had a crash and there was a little bit of fire.
There was some fire.
Some fire.
Man.
There you go. Baku 2019, not that bad after all.
There was a bit of fire. Never fear.
Absolutely, there were lots of crashes, which means...
Crash of the week, you bastards. I don't know where to go with Crash of the Week this week.
Yeah, you could side on the impact of the crash or just the severity of the crash.
I'm not sure. There was a few crashes. Some crashes happened.
Yeah,
so let's get a roundup of said crashes. So there was obviously Kubica's little crash, turn 8.
Yep.
Kubica's turn 8 crash.
There was turn 8 crash.
Leclerc's turn 8 crash. There was the slight reverse crash incident that happened with those people.
Yes.
Whoever they were. The Torpedo and Danny Rick, the Sugar Monster. I mean Honey Monster. That's my special name for him, Sugar Monster.
Wasn't meant to be said in public, but we've done that now. There was Danny Kvyat in practice 2.
I did not see this. Was there some slight tappage?
It was a pretty big crash.
Was it?
Yeah, it was one of the corners. I could point it out to you, but I don't know which.
It was a corner.
He hit the outside and ripped the back of the car, and there was a little bit of fire out the back. It was pretty.
A little bit of fire.
Pretty big crash, yeah.
There's some fire. I didn't see any more.
And of course there was George Russell with the drain.
George Russell drain crash. I'm gonna go with George Russell drain crash because it was spectacular and it did look surprisingly dangerous.
Oh no! I will add a late entry.
Late entry?
The tow truck into the bridge.
Oh no! I think that was that. I don't think that counts. Normally that would something that would be crash of the week for me because it's not actually involving a Formula One car directly. But no, I'm gonna go for the drain incident that caused the second incident because the drain looked like he ruptured his rectum with some
big old crash. It rendered that chassis unusable, which is always a big crash. Yeah.
Did it really? I would never have thought that.
There was Claire Williams really not happy about that.
She did not look happy.
Well, she wanted Baku to pay for it.
What? I would have.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, it's £500,000 down the drain. They don't have that lying about at Williams anymore. That they even had another chassis made. I'm surprised they had one there.
Definitely done it. Apparently, Hardy said Ericsson's crash into Grosjean was crash of the week. And Baku are paying for it. They confirmed it today.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's so they should, I guess.
I think they should. Yeah. At least definitely for the oil incident. I don't know how they could pay for that, but I'm sure there's something they could pay for. But the reason the oil incident happened was because of the drain. It was dangerous. You could have killed someone. All that happened, all that could have happened is that drain was lifted up in such an angle that it actually ripped into the bottom part of that monocoque.
Please say you have a drain meme for meme of the week.
No.
Okay, I'll have to try and find that before we get there. Because I
don't have any drain memes.
That was my favourite meme of the week.
I didn't find any drain memes.
Okay.
I had one meme of him looking under the car, but not any drain related memes. Find the dream. Find the dream. Find the. Find the drain meme. The dream. The drain meme.
I will try and. I've got less time than I think because I think that is going to be the next section, isn't it?
What, meme of the week?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Whilst you do. No, actually, we'll do meme of the week because I want to end on our little section that we've got planned. If you don't mind.
No problem.
We'll end on that. We'll do all everything, and we'll just end on that last little bit because I think that'd be nice. So let's wander on, meander down to meme of the week, and we not need to stop these kind of references. We need to go on to meme of the week. So I have a couple of memes. I don't think I still don't know a way if I can show these memes. It's in your Discord. Yeah, I know, Hardy. I've seen the meme. It's already actually been shortlisted on meme of the week. So I'm actually going to get rid of it because, fuck. Okay.
The way I do it is I open the pictures up in an internet browser and then have that on my display, if that helps.
Oh, I save them.
Or you save them and put them up, yeah. Which is what I always asked you to do before each race, and then you're like, that's a stupid idea.
I saved them into a separate file, which I'm actually now going to do right this very second.
Okay.
Move them into another one.
Do you want me to do Formula Fantasy while you do that?
Yes.
Gives you a little bit of time to prepare.
Yes. Okay. Off you go.
Well, I'm not quite ready for that either, but
for fuck's sake.
I should be ready quicker. Right, we are. I can do that. I can do a thing. I know how to do a thing. Maybe. Right, there we go. So, Fantasy Formula 1, which of course, if you're not signed up for, you can still sign up for. By going to the link code in the video that we did a few months ago. I've been forgetting recently to put the code in the thing. But anyway, let's go through the runners and riders. So, everything is closed up a little bit at the top. Now, we have a new entry in number 2, which I think Hardy can confirm on your stream. I think this guy is the guy that he said he got to join the league, which obviously already had a team going, so that's why he's on the board. But number 1 is Rob Still, my boss at work, if anyone didn't know that. By the way, he's not letting that live down at the moment. He's looking forward to wearing the t-shirt as well.
Oh, God.
So
also,
we are going to have to make that this year, it would look like.
No, Fox to the rescue with this. He found the new Ericsson merch. Apparently, our favourite racing driver, Ericsson, has merch.
He does. I'm more inclined to use that for when I'm hoping to, at some point this year, if you'll agree, to get cameras involved with the Formula Fun podcast. I feel I would go for that for the first episode. I'm just going to kick myself out in Ericsson merch. Yeah.
I feel you've just ruined the whole joke, but it's fine.
I have. No one will remember by the time we get there. Right, let me do fancy while we're getting meme of the week ready. So, Rob is still P1. Obviously, with this new entry of Grant, I presume is Hardy. Has Hardy confirmed that in the chat that he's the guy that entered?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, who's only 3 points behind, so he's got competition now, Rob. But Mercedes once again, and Hamilton winning out for him. His dedication to Lewis, he is a Lewis fan. Is obviously working out there. Turbo Norris, 24 points, and then OK points for Hulkenberg, Kubica from Magnussen, 145. So let's have a look at this Grant's team, shall we? 120 points this week. Again, good points from Mercedes and Hamilton. Really lost out by turboing Ricciardo. Yeah, wasn't the weekend to do that, I'm afraid. But did pretty well with Raikkonen, Stroll and Sainz all in the top 10. So he's only 4 points off. Then there's a big gap developing back to Rage in P3.
Hello.
454 points, again being rewarded for his dedication to Hamilton and Mercedes. 12 points for your Turbo Albon. That's the driver you changed, wasn't it, from last week?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Losing points.
What team? What team are we doing?
Rage's team.
Oh, what's the team called?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Don't
know why you're still banging on this door, because you know it's not going to happen.
What? My team?
It's barred shut.
Is it?
Lando Norris 12 points. Kimi Raikkonen 10. So okay performance for you, 124 points. Then another guy from my work, Bart. The Polish Bart has done. I don't know how he's done this. He's just incredible. He missed the first week, so he's a week down on points, and he's now 2 points behind you in fourth. Another great week for him. Turbo Raikkonen for 20 points. Bottas, Verstappen, Ferrari, Magnussen, Kubica, some good points across the board. 154. That's the most we've seen so far. Runner-up Foxes are a long way from runner-up. Making the same mistake as I am, Fox, I'm afraid, sticking with Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. And losing a huge amount of points for Gasly that you've got in that team. 20 points for Turboing Raikkonen. Always a good shout. Only 83 points for you this week, though. You've lost some serious ground on those ahead. Then we got hashtag Blessed Racing, which is Hardy. That's Hardy. That is Hardy. 422 points. Again, losing out on Ricciardo as many did this weekend. Okay points for Norris, Hulkenberg, Turbo Raikkonen, and Red Bull not really doing the business for you. I am really the joke of my office at the moment, I'll be honest. I'm not. I will admit to you, because they all know how much I love Formula 1 and how much I know about Formula 1. But I'm terrible at this fantasy game. I really am. 410 points. Now 12 points off Hardy and a good 40 points off the battle for third. But I had a pretty good week, though. I think I did make some ground. 143 points. I made some big changes this weekend, and one of them paid off massively for me. I turboed Sergio Perez because I thought, Baku, this is a good opportunity for that. Brought me home 42 points this week. Good Jesus. Lad. Leclerc, not so much, 27. 12 for Norris, Albon and Magnussen. Didn't really do the business, those two. And then propping up, we got Handmeister with 343 points. Good points for Leclerc, Vettel. Not so good for Renault, and lost points for Ricciardo. Only 66 points, and really becoming a bit beached in that 8th place. So it looks like at the moment we got two horse race for the title between Rob and Grant, but it's still early days, of course. And then we're going to have what looks like a season-long battle between Rage, Bart, Alec, Foxworth, Hardy and myself for that 3rd place. Could be interesting for best of the rest. Right, that is the Formula Fun Cup for this week. Congratulations on the winners and losers for this week. You will get your very memey shirt by the end of the year. I'm stalling a little bit because are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So, first meme. Oh, goodness. How's that worked? Oh, that's why. So, first meme. You need these as well, don't you?
I do. That's the way we normally do it.
That's the way it's done. So, first meme. People on my stream can see this already. I'm just about to give it to you on the... whatever it is.
Discord?
Yes! First meme.
First meme.
It's the classic.
Coming up now. It is the Netflix movie Blind with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
And
The
Danny
Netflix
Rick.
movie styled Danny Rick Bird Box / meme. It's a hybrid meme with some Danny Rick involvement, and it's got some content-related funnies.
It has. Luckily, my stream has cut out the watermark on that because it's a rival podcast.
Yeah, something like that.
A solid 6 bars on that.
6 bars? I think it's quite weak, actually. I don't know why I chose it. 4.
Pretty shit. I don't know what.
It's an old meme. Old meme. Move on.
Okay, moving on.
How do I do this? Don't look at the moment. 1 second. So don't look. Don't look at me!
So profesh.
Don't look.
Look at what? I'm not looking at anything.
I said don't look at me. Don't look at me! Alright, next one.
I'm a mess, Frodo. I'm back on the weed.
I'm back on the crack, Frodo. It's been a tough day. Second one! Oh, I've got to give it to you as well. Sorry. We're a bit slow on the old uptake.
Not only are we late in the week, but yeah, anyway. Oh, it's a Twitter meme. It's not even a meme.
It's a
someone's
Twitter-related
created it. It's an
meme.
actual factual event that's happened.
Ooh.
I have to zoom in a bit on that one. I did see this over the weekend. That's got to be right up there. I give that an 8 bars. Solid meme.
Good meme.
Yeah,
Cracking meme.
I like that he's getting into the spirit of it. What else could he do this weekend, really?
Exactly.
He's got to get a bit of publicity, isn't he?
Next meme.
Next meme coming up.
Next meme. Now, this is Hardy's meme.
Yeah, I saw this earlier today.
I think some of them are funny. Bunch of wankers really make me laugh. And the fuck it, we'll last anyways.
Yeah, so this
Honey
is
Badger
someone
Bread
that's
.exe.
redone all of the F1 team logos with alternative names. There's some good shit here.
Fire the Strategist. Oh my god, Mercedes 1-2. Pierre Gasly is shit. GP2 Engine. Daddy Stroll Racing. Kimi Räikkönen Iceman Racing. DNF Sports, the Honey Badger Dread.exe. Suck my ball, bunch of wankers. Oh no, the torpedo. And fuck it, we'll last anyways.
Yeah, I particularly like Ferraris and Daddy Stroll Racing in that one.
Yep, same. 5 was?
For sheer effort of doing the photoshopping required on that, I would give it a good 7 was. It's pretty funny and I like the effort, so it's a good one. I like that.
Fair enough. Well, this one is more of like it's like a train of memes. This one. I really like these. I don't know why they really make me laugh. So the first one. Who would win? Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm just getting onto the stream. Daniel Avocado has been a favourite of The Office for a little bit. We like that one. I haven't seen Charles Leclerc.
Then this one slyly moves on to the second one.
What?
It's Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, I got it. It did take me a while, but I got it.
It's Valtteri Bottas. I thought it was great. I'm not going to bother to change them on my stream anymore. I'm just going to add them on. And then that moves on to Roman Croissant. Can you see where I'm going with this?
I swear a mile off.
This one's good. Sebastian Vettel.
This is what you were chuckling about earlier when you found this, wasn't it?
Yes. Hardy, don't you dare come in here. You're ruining it all. And then I'm going to end it all off with Giancarlo Fisicola.
An oldie but a goodie.
A classic Giancarlo Fisicola. I thought these were great. These ones really made my day.
There's some good effort into this.
And there's one final meme for you. This is the one I think that will take the crown of meme of the week. I'm going to give a collective on all of those food-related memes. We're going to do a collective rating of 7 boas.
I'd give that an 8 boas. I like those.
8 boas. Some of those are good.
Came
I
out
like
left
the
field as well. I wasn't expecting it. Which
Valtteri
is where
Bottas.
that's where the best memes come from. No, that was the weakest of them, I'll be honest.
Really? This one's really one of my favourites.
Giancarlo Fisicola is my favourite out of those.
Giancarlo Fisicola.
That's brilliant.
Ericsson hit me. Ericsson hit me. A very joke to you.
That's something along the lines of what I was trying to find.
Classic drain meme.
The one I saw, but I can't find it, is a picture of the top picture, and then the bottom one is the drain open, but with Ericsson's face in it.
Oh, what, like Pennywise style?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I haven't found that one.
Hardy saying in Discord, Giancarlo Fisicola, get outraged. Not having that. That's brilliant.
Giancarlo Fisicola. You know what, Jamie? I stopped at Giancarlo Fisicola. There were more.
You can't beat Giancarlo Fisicola. It's too good.
Do you want me to try and find the others?
No. Just ruin it at this point.
Okay. All right. Right. Should we do predictions?
We can do that at the end. Let's go into what you wanted to go into next.
I was literally going to do the predictions, go into what I was going to do, and literally end the podcast there. Classic kind of.
Okay.
Never done before territory.
Okay, looking on to Barcelona then, it's going to be a big test of what the season to come is going to be.
I wonder where you were going with that then. You just said big tests, and then I was like, well.
It's a big testes moment.
There's a big testes moment for everyone on the grid.
This is always the teller, isn't it, for the season? Because this is where they went testing. This is where they developed their early cars. It's where a lot of teams bring their upgrades. It's a track that Ferrari really need to assert dominance if they're going to have any chance in this title race. So there's a lot hanging on this, so I'm hoping we're going to get a pretty good race. Predictions. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Charles Leclerc. I'm going to go Valtteri Bottas.
Okay.
Lewis Hamilton.
Shit, he went there. Okay, so what was that? Claire, Bottas, Hamilton.
Eclair, Kettle, Butters. Oh no, Hamilton. We haven't got one for Hamilton. That's the problem.
There was a Hamilton one. I think it was like Lamilton, Lewis Lamilton. Didn't work so well. It was like him and a lamb, and I don't know. I didn't find it very funny.
Sounds pretty awful.
It was pretty awful. Hardy's gone for Hamilton, Vettel, Bottas for the top 3. Maybe I'll get the right friggin' order this time. So that's Hardy's prediction. Fox, I'm sure he will put forward his prediction. My prediction is going to be Leclerc, Vettel, Hamilton.
Okay. Both going with Leclerc?
Yes. Do you Leclerc or do you Leclerc?
It depends what day of the week it is, mate.
I guess. Do you Charles or Charles?
Again, likewise.
Because one week
mood you catch me in.
It could be Charles Leclerc. Could be Charles Leclerc. It could be Charles Leclerc. It could be Charles Leclerc. Or it could be a mix of all of them. I'm just going to call them CC. CLC.
I prefer Charles.
Just Charles, mate. Charlie.
No, it's Charles.
Charles.
Yeah.
Charlie, mate.
Really put that emphasis on the pronunciation that isn't there.
Charles.
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 Hello.
That's definitely not doing that again. Right, should we move on to...
Why is Hardy saying Juan Pablo What's that got to do? Juan Pablo Montoya. I don't think I can do... Oh, Juan Pablo Montoyota. Okay. It took him that long to come up with it. That's bad.
I was going to
I
start
would,
trying to come up with some, but I couldn't.
If I would have come up with one, it would have been Paul Derested. And I would have had a picture of Paul Derester in handcuffs.
Very good.
How about you?
Mika Hakkinen, but with him hacking a computer.
Okay.
Or off the top of my head, Adrian Sutil in a suit.
Oh, outside of the box.
Pastel Maldonado, where he's like recolored in pastel colors.
Okay, all right, let's end this now.
We're getting to the bottom of the rung here.
Here we are. Oh, well, I guess that does lead us on to the final sector that we have kind of been building up to.
Yeah, I'll let you take this away. I've changed the image, and I'll let you introduce this one.
I'm going to put some different music on now, because I think
About to take things down.
we need to take things down a notch. Need to find the right music. That's definitely copyrighted. I'm not going to use that. Anything Hans Zimmer has been copyrighted straight away.
Doesn't matter on Twitch, does it?
No, but fuck it, we'll put it on. Oh no, I don't care about you adverts. Go away. Ugh.
Just FYI for people, this is why I don't let Rage run too many sections of the podcast.
Okay.
Amuse yourselves.
So, I thought, because as everyone knows, who is in the kind of F1 circle, that it is come round to the time where we like to look back on certain people and certain inspirations to us ever getting into or watching or sometimes listening to Formula One. And I thought it would be a good time to talk about one of the reasons why I started watching Formula One. Now, a lot of us know as well that it is it's a very sad point in Formula One history that it marks 25 years since the death of Ayrton Senna a couple of days ago. So I thought really we would have a little chat between us, a little chat from me about some certain things that people might not know, a little bit of a reason why I liked Ayrton Senna, why I feel he's probably one of the best we've had. So, yes, 25 years, 2 days ago, was it?
It was on the 1st, so yes, 2 days ago. It was Wednesday.
2 days ago. Marks the 25th anniversary of death. And quite a few fans went to Imola to mark the sad anniversary, which was quite nice. There were lots of flowers. There were people even dressing up in race suits. Some people bringing helmets. There were some nice pictures of people placing helmets down on grid slots. I thought it was a nice and happy-ish mark to someone who was somehow bigger than Formula One in his own little way. So, yeah, I thought I'd just say a few little facts that some people might not necessarily know about Ayrton Senna. So, first of all, he didn't actually get into karting until he was 13 years old. Like, in these days, that's old. You're over the hill, 13 years old. That's pretty much, you're not getting in, mate. There's the door. And also, when he was young, he was actually treated for a motor condition at the age of 3. He had trouble climbing stairs. So it didn't really have the prospects to be the kind of person that he actually, was in later life. However, on his first race, now I don't know how true this is. It could have been first professional race, but apparently he qualified in pole position. He didn't convert it, but he had to retire from the race later on. Moving on very quickly, he obviously had a bit of a torrid time getting into Formula One, moving through the lower ranks of Formula Ford and all of this to try and make his name to get into Formula One. And his name was quickly spread throughout the whole racing world. Everyone knew this rising star of this Brazilian man who left no quarter and left it all on the track. And pretty much, if you're going toe to toe with this man, you get out of the way or you're going to crash. But he didn't enter Formula One the normal kind of way, he did it a little differently. So he joined Tolman, so a new-ish team, despite testing for big teams like Williams, McLaren, and Brabham. But little Senna decided, actually, you know what? I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it the hard way. So he joined Tolman, and only, I think it was 2 years. Was it 2 years, Jamie? Or 1 year? 1 year, I think, at Tolman.
1 year with Tolman, then to Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah. So 1 year with Tolman, an amazing drive at Monaco that actually remains one of my favourite ever Formula One races. Then on to Lotus, where it took him a couple of races, or maybe even a year or so before he won his first race in Portugal. Was it Estoril, his first race?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head, no.
Pretty sure it was Estoril where he won his first race. No, it might not have been. Anyway, it was Portugal where he won his first race. Famously in the wet, there was water everywhere, and I just remember him taking off those straps and getting. Well, I didn't actually watch it, but remember seeing him taking off his straps and driving around the last couple of laps with no safety bits on, just going absolutely mad, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, it wasn't a normal entry, or at least from someone of such like a respected standpoint where he was at that time, just to jump straight in and think, you know what, actually I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go to the back and work my way forward. I don't want to do it by going to the easiest team and winning straight away. I want to earn it. And that was quite good. That kind of stood out for me. I thought that was a good way to enter Formula One. These days, I guess people just try and get in how they can. It's, people try and get into whatever team they can. But anyway, during his rise up the ranks, he had quite a few collisions on the track. He wasn't always known to be the cleanest drivers. He collided with Mansell once in the 1987 Grand Prix, and apparently an angered Mansell greeted Senna in the pits and grabbed him furiously by the throat. I haven't seen this. Have you?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen
Have you?
Yeah.
Absolutely mad stuff. Apparently, people who have watched Formula One for a long time will have known some of the greatest ever wins or laps that Senna had put down. His ability to control the car in any condition is what separated him from the greats. One stands out for me, at least, is the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix, where he finished without shifting towards the end of the race. So his gearbox failed. I think he lost third, fourth, fifth. I think he was almost driving lap after lap in sixth.
He was stuck in sixth gear. Yeah.
Was he stuck in sixth? Yeah. And he managed to get the car round and finish and win. He had to be lifted pretty much from the car. And if you've seen the movie Senna, where he is greeted by everyone in the paddock, he literally cannot be touched because he's in so much pain. He's in agony because of what he had to put himself through to get the car round to win his home Grand Prix. Another point that stands out for me, there are a couple of these. Another point that stands out for me, the footage of him during the 1992 Belgian Grand Prix, where he jumps out to save the French driver. I don't remember his name. I can't remember his name.
Was it Boutsen?
I don't know his name. Google if you want to do it. He jumped out anyway. It's a famous scene of him jumping out the car, disregarding everything of his Eric Comas? I don't know. Disregarding his own safety completely. Running out into traffic and helping this man out of the car and probably saving his life. And the thing that really sticks in my mind is on the day that he did finally lose his battle in the car, he had an Austrian flag folded up, and the medical team found it because he was going to raise it in honour of Ratzenberger after the race. So yeah, little things that stand out for me that really show that I don't think any sportsman ever in any walk of sport, even the Alis, the Pelés, have ever been bigger than the sport themselves in the way Senna was. Bigger than politics, even bigger than football in his home country of Brazil. Without a doubt, the greatest man to ever turn the wheel, and will be, for me, the greatest person ever to sit in a car.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, if I could just take over a little bit from there.
Sure.
It was a lovely piece.
Thank you.
To him. Yeah, it was obviously one of the saddest days in Formula One when he passed, but he was a man that lived his life on the track at the absolute limit.
No
he was
quarter,
a man
literally.
that traversed all boundaries of sport, as you say. He was a man that was touted to be future president of Brazil. He was a man that, towards his later career, was building schools and facilities for children worse off in a time that Brazil was completely riddled with poverty and imbalance in the society, and he was someone that saw his opportunity and his success in Formula One as an opportunity to really make a difference in the country that he loved so much, and someone that would have done great things if he wasn't cruelly taken from us at the age of just 34. On the track, he is the most fearless and quickest driver there has ever been. There is no doubt about that. What he did in an age of manual gear shifts and no power steering is just defies belief sometimes, especially when you see his physical stature. And was a personality that you just do not see in sport, let alone Formula One anymore. Someone that was so in love with driving and the sport and had no interest in the media or the limelight, and was just an incredible talent. To go a little over the weekend of 1994, obviously it sprouted some of the biggest changes to safety Formula One has ever seen, and until the unfortunate death of Bianchi in 2017 prevented any serious injury to drivers between that because of the safety. And I want to share a little story that I always remember of Senna, which is between Professor Sid Watkins and him. They were great friends, and of course Sid Watkins, Professor Sid Watkins was the medical the doctor for Formula One that used to go around in the medical car for nearly 40-50 years, and they had a great relationship, and they were all for the side of safety. And obviously after the tragic death of Roland Ratzberger and the big accident of Rubens Barrichello over that weekend, there was a conversation between the two of them before the start of the San Marino Grand Prix, and Sid Watkins just said to him, you and me, we've done enough. We could just go off now, you and me, go find a nice quiet place and go fishing. We don't need to do this. And Senna turned around and said, I need to do this for Roland. And that's the last time those two ever spoke. And I think that epitomises the kind of relationship and the opinion of people of him from Sid Watkins' side, and Senna's attitude towards racing and his fellow competitors. And it was a sad moment. But it's one that will forever live on in the sport, and the changes made in his honour and the memories of his races will traverse generations. And it's a sad thing to think that it was 25 years ago, and where he would be now. He would have only been 59, and I'm sure would have been quite something special either in Brazil or in the world of Formula One. Right?
Can you imagine him like managing or this being the same kind of driving force that we have like Prost and Lauda at Mercedes and at Renault, but instead at McLaren?
Yeah, there's a very real possibility he could have done that. Obviously, the political side of things is what we all expected him to maybe go into. But I think Formula One would have dragged him back at some point. But that's the saddest thing, of course. We just don't know. And we were robbed of what could have been one of the golden eras of Formula One as well, with him and Schumacher. That would have been some fight to see. But it's sad. A final pointer for that, I would say, you don't know what it is in your country, but Formula One TV. This is not an advert. The F1 TV service, which in some countries gives you access to watch the races live, but in most countries it just gives you access for, in this country at least, it's £2.60 a month, and it gives you access to the archives of Formula One, full races, highlights of select full races, but highlights. Full broadcast highlights with the original commentary of every race back to I think 70s. For £2, that's a great way to one's memory to go back and actually see him racing in its full glory. It's quite a good thing to do. So,
if you wanted. If you want to relive those glory days. I was gonna just read Fox's little poem that he put together before, and just end it on that. If you wanted, if you've got any more to say.
No, go ahead.
No?
Absolutely.
It's really hard to do this without like bursting into tears because it's a really sad poem.
It is. It's beautifully written, and kudos to Fox for that.
Yeah, thanks for Fox for doing this. I think he used, like you say, for some of his schoolwork or some of his uni work. So it's just titled Senna. Born under the stars, both green and yellow, the desire for speed before all others. From carts to cars, you fought hard from below. The top was where you would meet your brothers. You left your home and went out to the world, the king of Monaco. The streets were your throne. You wowed the crowd. Your name became unfurled. 6-time winner, an unmatched milestone. At Imola, you went straight into the wall. Not a bruise on your body. One last sigh. A whole nation. A whole people left to brawl. In Morumbi, the final place you lie. From one sacrifice, hundreds have been saved. Nada po mi separar du amor du duis. I think I said it right. And on that, we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you very much, everybody, as always, for watching. On that note, we'll see you very soon.